Following a dominant performance in a decisive win over Cibona in Zagreb, the defending champion Crvena Zvezda is left standing as the only undefeated team in ABA League. Kpos pulled off an amazing upset with a historical first ever win in ABA League, inflicting the very first loss on Budućnost in the process. Cedevita defeated Partizan in the game of the round played in Belgrade, while Krka won for the fourth time in a row. He led Megalex to the ABA League finals in the previous season. Meet the captain of the league's youngest team, Rade Zagorac. Following the team's first loss this season against Kpos, Vlado Šipanović decided to leave the head coaching position at Budućnost. The club's front office accepted his resignation and named Ilias Zuros as his successor. Experienced veteran from Greece coached a number of teams, European powerhouses such as Olympiakos, Žalgiris and Efes, as well as the national teams of Greece and Georgia. Aleksandar Jončevski also resigned his post as the head coach of MZT. He decided to part ways with the club from Skopje following a defeat at Krka in Novo Mesto. This will be the second coaching change for MZT following the firing of Emil Rajković earlier this season. By the time a new head coach is named, the team will be in the hands of Jončevski's assistant Goran Krstevski and Aleksandar Knazev, who will perform the role of a professional advisor. Cedevita's roster overhaul is not over yet. A new reinforcement comes in the form of John Šurna, an American forward who made a name for himself playing for Strasbourg, Juventud, Darüşşafaka and Valencia. Cedevita also decided to cut ties with David Stockton. After only 6 ABA League games, the point guard was demoted into Cedevita's B team, but Stockton wanted a bigger challenge and has found one in New Zealand. Mornar also made a new acquisition. Cameron Tatum will be the team's 5th US-born player. Shooting guard and small forward who last played for the Polish side Turów signed the contract until the end of this season. Uroš Duvnjak is no longer a member of Kpos Sokoli. After only 9 games averaging a meager 5 points, the team decided to part ways with the Serbian point guard who will return to Greece and sign a contract with Apollon Patra. Kpos Sokoli pulled off the biggest upset this season. Surprisingly, the club's historic first ever win in ABA League came against the previously undefeated Budućnost, 77-71. The home team took advantage of the fact that Budućnost was without the injured Savovic and Gordic, while an unknown medical issue limited Sean James' performance. The visiting team couldn't recover from a shockingly convincing defeat in Eurocup a few days back and opened the game lacking focus and energy. The home team was up by 6 in a heartbeat, but missed a number of opportunities to gain a double-digit lead. Budućnost took advantage and with a 16-0 scoring run inspired by Suat Šehović, raced to an 8-point lead by the end of the first quarter. However, it was all downhill for the visiting team from that point on. They scored only 8 while giving up 25 points in the second quarter. Suat Šehović made the only field goal out of the 15 shots the team took, mostly from open looks. Dušan Knežević made a great partnership with the Kpos guards on the pick and roll, and when Budućnost started collapsing in the paint, it was time for Dragan Zeković to punish the defenders with 3 consecutive 3-pointers. The home team would lead 43-33 at the halftime. Budućnost woke up in the third, and with a 10-2 run came as close as 52-47, but Labović sparked the home team again. Penov and Verbans found the perfect time to hit their only 3-point jumpers in this game, and Kpos was up by 8 at the end of the third period. Coach Vlado Stjepanovic had no other choice but to send the injured Sean James in to try to squeeze the most out of the suddenly jubilant Marcus Williams. The veteran point guard was fouled on a successful 3-point shot but missed a free throw and let slip the chance to bring Budućnost within 3. He would succeed in doing so with a 3 in the following drive, but that would be the last field goal for both teams in this game. In the final 2 minutes, Budućnost missed 7 shots and made 2 turnovers, allowing the home team to secure the historic win from the free throw line. With 18 and 17 points respectively, Labovic and Zekovic take the most credit for the team's first win this season. With a short bench, Bojan Subotic was forced to play 39 minutes. He scored a team-high 20 points and grabbed 11 rebounds, but went 5 for 15 from the field. Williams added 14 and Suačekovic stopped at 12 in the first loss this season for the team from Podgorica. Crvena zvezda is the only undefeated team left in the competition, standing alone in first place following the defeat Budućnost suffered in Skopje. Defending champion never let an opportunity slip away, even though it had a tough matchup in Zagreb. But Crvena zvezda made short work of Cibona on its way to a more than dominant 91-70 win. Some 3,500 fans in Dražen Petrović Basketball Center were hopeful that Damir Molomerovic's team might take advantage of Crvena zvezda's troubles on the road from Russia to Croatia. The late flights caused the game to be pushed from Saturday to Sunday, but the long and uncomfortable ride left no effect on the visiting team. Coach Dejan Radonjic's team was close to perfect on the defensive end and used a 9-0 run midway through the first quarter to create a cushion. The game was already decided in the second quarter, as Crvena zvezda scored 30 and allowed only 15 points. Interior post-game was non-existent for the home team. Žižić was held in check, and Crvena zvezda fed off its great defense on the other side of the court. Shooters caught fire after a few modest performances, and with 11 threes in 24 attempts, the lead was already at 20 points at the halftime. In the first few minutes, it was obvious the visiting team wouldn't let up. The lead went to a game-high 25 points, and the only question left to answer was that of the final score. As many as 5 players scored in double digits for the winners. Nate Walters had his breakout game for Crvena zvezda, scoring 14 points, as many as Jovic and Bjelica. Kuzmic added 1 less, while Charles Jenkins stopped at 10. Ante Žižić led all scorers in Cibona's third defeat this season with 16, while Marin Rozic added 15 points. Partizan suffered its third consecutive defeat in ABA League, this time at the hands of Cedevita, in an interesting game that was anything but ordinary. Cedevita pulled off a 97-87 win in Aleksandar Nikolić Hall in Belgrade, led by Pierre Jackson's 32 points and 9 assists. Jackson hit some clutch shots to lead his team to a comeback victory in front of 4,500 frenetic Partizan fans. The lead changed hands several times in the first quarter, but the home team managed to hold on to a single-point advantage. In the first 5 minutes of the second, Partizan went on an impressive 19-3 run, led by the team captain Novica Veličković and Will Hatcher. Cedevita lost its head coach Veljko Mršić, who was ejected from the game after some fierce protests on what he thought were questionable calls by the referees. Assistant Gianmarco Pozzecco took over the helm with the team down 42-25. He made some adjustments on defense that seemed to slow down the home team, who suddenly lost its rhythm and was struggling to make shots from beyond the three-point line. On the other side of the court, Jackson, Thomas and Bilan jump-started Cedevita's offense, and Partizan's 17-point lead melted by the end of the first half. The visiting team played with even more energy and drive, and even tipped the scales on rebounds, grabbing 8 offensive boards. Coach Aleksandar Džikic's team let a 5-point lead slip away in the third quarter, allowing Cedevita to take over with a 14-2 run. Shots kept falling in for the suddenly confident visiting team, who raced to a double-digit lead at the end of the third. But Partizan had enough left in the tank for a final charge in the fourth quarter. With a 3-point jumper from Andrić, they came within 3, but Jackson followed up with a dagger 3 to secure Cedevita's victory. Aside from Jackson, important roles in Cedevita's 6th win this season were played by Bilan with 19 points and Thomas with 16. Novica Veličković led Partizan's scorers with 20. Hatcher had one less, along with 6 assists. Lukovic added 12 and Andrić 11 points. Both teams now sit at a 6-3 record. Megalex put an end to a streak of close call defeats in both ABA and FIBA Champions League with a win over Igokea in Laktaši 67-64. The home team was struggling in the opening minutes, scoring its first points on the night in the 5th minute of the game. Mega was up by 9 at the end of the first, but in the second quarter we saw a role reversal. Jovan Novak scored the first points for the league's youngest team with 4 minutes left to play, but despite a poor showing on offense, Mega held on to an 8-point lead, 31-23 at the half. It wasn't a pretty picture at the start of the second half as both teams were missing shots and exchanging turnovers, but Rikic and Radivojevic gave the home team the lead. With Marko Tejic sidelined, Stefan Glogovac played some important minutes and made the best of the opportunity. He scored 8 in the third and his three-pointer gave the visiting team an 8-point lead at the end of the third. Vuk Radivojevic and James Robinson sparked the home team, but Mega's Ognjen Jaramas decided it was time to break out of a slump. Point guard, who was held scoreless up to that point, hit 2 consecutive threes to keep the lead safe. Megalex's captain Rade Zagorac scored 18 and added 10 rebounds in the team's 3rd win this season. Igokea's captain Radivojevic led his team with 18 points in another tough loss at home. Once again, Megalex is the ABA League's youngest squad. The previous season's runner-up owes a lot of its success to one of the most talented players in the region. Even though he's only 21, Rade Zagorac is already a household name, standing at the forefront of a wave of young and promising stars. From a gold medalist at the European Championship with the Serbian under-20 national team, we learned more of his first basketball steps, made not so long ago. I was introduced to basketball at age 8 in a club from my neighborhood in Bežanijska Kosa called Div Basket by my first coach and now my best friend Nenad Trikic. I remember that part of my childhood fondly. Next stop was Zemun, where my coach was Darko Peruničić. I spent 4 years there and moved on to Mega. There was a brief time I spent in Smederevo on a loan, playing for coach Zoran Todorović, and I can proudly say I've been a member of Megalex ever since. The previous season was a historic success as Megalex won its first trophy at the Radivoj Korać Cup and made the ABA League finals. But before he led his team with a 27-point performance in an upset over Budućnost in the semis, Zagorac got an early scare with an injury that happened in the very first round. It was a turbulent season, no doubt. The plan was for me to be the team's franchise player, to play a lot of minutes. But the injury I suffered in the first round was something that was out of my hands, something I couldn't control. It was a hard time being sidelined for the 3.5 months. I had great expectations, but the hopes took an unexpected hit. However, I worked very hard. Things fell in place after a slow start coming back from injury. I think for the final 2 months of the season, I was on a level I wanted to be on, and the accolades were soon to follow. The accolades came in the form of an invite for the Serbian national team's camp and the NBA draft, where the Boston Celtics selected him with the 35th pick, shipping him off to Memphis in a trade. It was a busy summer, going back to that injury and what my expectations were after that tough period of my life. It's kinda strange everything fell in place as it did. The camp with the Serbian national team. I had a great time with all those guys. And then the NBA draft, which was the highlight of my career so far. All of those things just built up my confidence. Going to United States was special, an amazing experience. To see how the NBA works, meet all those players I only had a chance to see on the web or TV. It left quite an impression on me. Confidence was sorely needed as Zagorac received an even more important role this season. Natural selection sort of led to more responsibilities laid on my shoulders. I can't say I didn't have them last season, but now there's even more. There's more pressure. The team, the coaches, the public, everyone expects more from me. I try to handle this situation the best I can, to play as well as I can, and keep being focused on improving my game. Was the team's somewhat slow start to this season a matter of the other teams improving, or was it something else? It's not the same when you have 6 or 7 days to prepare for a game in ABA League, and when you have only 1 or 2 after a tough matchup in the Champions League. The league itself is more competitive. The teams are better, stronger, especially those in the top ranks. In the bottom as well. Overall, the whole league is much more competitive, and the games are much more challenging. What are his plans for the future? I can say I'm only focused on the games. It's such a tough schedule, and I don't think there is time to think about anything else. I would love to win another trophy with Mega. That's all. I would really like to do that, first and foremost.
Ne želim sad da pravim neke planove ili to, jednostavno to bi mi bilo onako najdraže od svega što bi mogu da uradim ove sezone.
Krka extended the winning streak to 4 games, beating MZT 97-87 at home. Following the wins over Cedevita, Zadar and Megalex, the home team found itself down early in Novo Mesto. Led by Daniel Clark, the visiting team grabbed a double-digit lead, 27-16 at the end of the first quarter. But Matic Rebec came off the bench in the second to spark the home team's offense and tied it at 34. MZT responded with 9 unanswered points, but Krka struck back with an 8-0 run and was down only 43-42 at the halftime. Marko Lukovic was quiet in the first half with only 3 points to his name, but exploded for 16 in the second. Krka scored 31 in the third quarter and raced to a 73-61 lead entering the fourth. Without Kloff and Lucic in the lineup, MZT seemed to run out of gas and only managed to soften the blow. Rebec made a habit of dropping long-distance threes this season and made 3 of such shots in the fourth quarter. With 24 points and 10 assists, he led his team to another victory, 5th this season, to go along with 3 losses. Clark and Sinovic scored 16 points apiece, but couldn't prevent MZT's 6th defeat this season. Olympia seems to have a penchant for drama this season, with another thrilling overtime win coming against FNP in Ljubljana. An efficient first quarter was marked by the visiting team's dominance in the paint and on the boards. Australian Jonah Bolden scored 9 of FNP's 27 points in the first period. The visiting team never let up in the second, grabbing a game-high 16-point lead, only to end the first half up by 12. They held a double-digit lead midway through the third when Oliver and Jankovic sparked an Olympia rally. The home team came within 2, but Marko Ljubicic hit a 3 in the dying seconds of the third quarter to keep the visitors 6 points ahead, 65-59. In the fourth, Jefferson hit a 3 following a 5-0 run to bring Olympia within a point. Timeout was called by FNP and resulted with a run of 5 points by Filip Čović, but Jankovic made a run of his own to tie the game at 78. Ljubicic had a shot at the win, but missed a buzzer-beating 3. In the overtime, Jankovic seemed unstoppable as he followed up a steal with a dunk and put an end to the game from the free throw line. He led all scorers with 26 points, while Oliver and Hrovat chipped in with 16 each. FNP's sixth defeat this season came despite a 17-point performance by Čović and 16 points by Bolden. In the highest scoring affair this season, Zadar came out victorious over Mornar in Bar, 110-104. Mornar welcomed back Cole Dickerson in the lineup after missing the previous 2 games with an injury. But the visiting team had more weapons at his disposal, scoring a season-high 34 points in the first quarter. Serbian big man Ivan Marinkovic was unstoppable with 17 points in the first 10 minutes, missing only 1 attempt. Mornar improved on defense in the second, with Octavius Ellis protecting the rim, but Boris Barac found his shooting stroke and kept Zadar in the lead 53-45 at the halftime. Marinkovic-Barac frontcourt kept terrorizing the home team's defense, and the lead was expanded to 11 points by the end of the third period. Zadar was in trouble for the first time when Mazalin, Brzoja and Vladovic all fouled out in the final minutes of the fourth period. Mornar's amazing point guard Lamont Jones used this opportunity to make the game interesting once again. With the inexperienced Jelenkovic and Jurica forced into duty, Zadar kept turning the ball over and Mornar was within 4. But Jurica made up for his mistakes with a 3-pointer to keep the home team at bay. Zadar grabbed the 4th win this season thanks to the duo Marinkovic-Barac with 27 points apiece. Jones's 30-point effort was not enough for Mornar, and neither were 25 points by Ellis and 19 by Waller. Boris Barac is the MVP of the 10th round. Zadar's forward was instrumental in the team's win over Mornar in Bar. In the game featuring the highest total score this season, Barac was good for 27 points, added 9 rebounds and 5 assists in 37 minutes. Total of 40 index value points was enough to earn him the MVP honors, ahead of Octavius Ellis, Pierre Jackson and Matic Rebec, who all gathered over 30 index value points. This is the second time a player from Zadar won the honors, with Ivan Marinkovic winning the title in the first round. We kick off our top 5 plays review in Belgrade, where Miro Bilan put an assist from Pierre Jackson to good use. From the same game, Partizan's duo Ratkovica and Lukovic take the 4th place on our list. Australian Jonah Bolden takes the 3rd spot on our list with this dunk on a follow-up. Octavius Ellis found his place on our list once again, this time coming in at 2nd with yet another monster dunk. It doesn't get any better than this. An alley-oop combo of Matic Rebec and Ron Curry sits at the top of our list. You've been watching another edition of ABBA Magazine. See you again next week when we review the 10th round of ABBA League.